Hi friends, welcome back. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you about water dreams and the meaning of water in dreams because I think that's a very common dream symbol. People dream about it a lot. So I just wanted to tell you what I think it means. So when we think about water and we look at water in comparison to like air, let's say, which air is light and airy, and water is heavier than that. It's very so to me it represents like intensity, something that's more intense, let's say. But also air has a quality of like light and jovial and happy. So like if you were to dream like that you're like floating in air, then you're probably feeling very happy and very elated. However, water is, it has a sort of like a sadness to it. It's this intensity. So I think it's a much more depressive type of element and intensity, you know what I mean? Just like how rain on a rainy day, your spirits are kind of down sometimes when it's rainy and gloomy out versus a clear sunshiny day. So think about that as far as water goes. So I think it usually has to do with very intense feelings, and it can be sad feelings of depression, in my opinion. Of course, water, if you has very good connotation as well. Water is essential for life, and so we need water when we're thirsty. We need to quench our thirst with water. So water is very life-giving and satisfying. So a lot of times people will say that water represents the Holy Spirit in a dream, and I agree with that. I think that that is, again, depending on the context, could very well be true. So we see that water is compared to the Holy Spirit in the Bible, like where Jesus says, if we believe in him, then water, streams of living water will flow out of our heart or something. So again, that's biblical, and a lot of, Christian dream interpreters will tell you that water represents the Holy Spirit. And I agree with that. But, I do think like symbols can represent a lot of different things. And so water can just represent a source of benefit to you in some kind of way, something that's refreshment for the soul, something that's life-giving and good. So like if you see a glass of water, where you're drinking a glass of water, or you're being offered a glass of water, or you're giving someone water, and then that's a very positive dream, meaning that you're having basically the essentials of life satisfied in your life. You're either helping someone else to get them, or you're receiving them yourself. So very good dream. However, if the water is dirty, obviously, then that would represent, something toxic, or something that is somehow corrupted in some way. So then, that would be a warning dream that maybe what you're partaking of or what you're putting out, depending on if you're giving it or if you're receiving, then that is corrupted in some kind of way and defiled. And so it would have a negative connotation to it. Another way we can look at water as a symbol is that, water is kind of dangerous to us. I mean, we live on land, we're land animals, right? And so we're not fish. And so water can be a danger. It can be threatening. There's like a, possibility of drowning. And so it can be a threat or an obstacle of some kind. So in a dream, it can have a negative connotation to it, where it's some kind of obstacle or some kind of bad feelings. A lot of times I do think it has to do with emotions that you're having. So emotions of sadness, or could be like just anything that's negative, resentment, bitterness, those kind of things. But I have heard that, the clarity of the water is important, but also like the body of water is important. So, for example, if you're looking at a river, that could be some kind of obstacle, because you have to cross a river a lot of times. So depending on if there's a river and you can't cross it, that would show you that there's some kind of obstacle. However, because the river is moving water and flowing water, to me that would suggest that it is a transitory type situation. It's temporary. It's something you're just dealing with right now, versus if it's like a pond or a lake where it's surrounded by land and it is self-contained. In that case, you're looking at more of like a permanent type situation in your life. And then like really the way the water, what's the water like? Is it smooth and peaceful? That could show really good circumstances, peaceful, tranquil circumstances. Or if it's dirty and, then it would be like bad, like maybe a toxic relationship or something. If it's choppy, it would represent like problems, difficulties, obstacles that you have to overcome. Maybe problems that you haven't dealt with or faced in your life, versus where if it's smooth, it could be things that you have resolved, that have been resolved, and you've arrived at a place of peace in your life. So if we stay with that line of thinking, then the ocean could represent a really serious obstacle, right? Like something that is very much out of your control, and very unpredictable, unknowable, like something that you just cannot control. You cannot know. It's overwhelming, like an overwhelming obstacle and problem. Maybe something you feel is like impossible, like in your life, like how am I ever going to achieve this? This seems impossible. You might have ocean dreams like that. If you dream about like waves coming in from the ocean, that can be something, a fear that you're facing, or some kind of change or something, but something in your life that would be, you're afraid of the impact of it. Like it can be very impactful and you're sort of thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to deal with this? This is like overwhelming me. It's something that could potentially hurt you, or you can really feel the effects of that. So I think you would dream ocean waves when you're really feeling out of control, scared, and you are afraid of the consequences or the impact of whatever thing upon your life. Sometimes people deal with things that they feel like they might not be able to handle. And I think that those ocean wave dreams could happen like that. There are situations where I think that it could also mean like that, God himself is changing, doing big things in your life, and that there are big changes in your life, or something that comes into your life from the Lord, from God, because I do associate a lot of times the ocean could represent God just because it's vast and powerful, and so I think that could also represent a move of God in your life. But it can also just represent like fear of the unknown and obstacles that seem just unsurmountable to you. So anyway, guys, I hope that makes sense to you, and that it'll help you better understand your water dreams. There are, other dreams about like crossing bridges. I hope to be able to do that one soon, or crossing roads. So anyway, but for water, I just think that water has more to do with intense feelings. And I almost forgot, like if you dream you're immersed in water, then it's like you're having an all-consuming type of feeling. And again, depending on the context, it could be a good feeling. It could be a bad feeling, but it's something that's like, it's all consuming in your life, and that's why you would be like immersed in the water. But anyway, guys, I hope that makes sense again, and please like and subscribe if you like this content and you want me to keep making videos. I appreciate that so much, and until next time, be blessed.